Marcus, who's going to tell us a bit more about the way of life and the culture of flamenco. So can you just explain to us a bit about the origins of flamenco, where it all started?
Well, what most people don't realise is flamenco comes from India, because what happened was people left India, the gypsy people, los gitanos, they left India, and it took them about 1,000 years to travel, and they came and they entered Spain. And what we understand of flamenco today comes from those people. They travelled all the way through Spain and they landed in the country of Andalusia, southern Spain. And there they settled. They liked the climate because there's lots of food, it's warm. And they started trading. They worked on the land and they worked with iron forges. They had forges. And at this time you've got to realise that even by the 18th century there wasn't flamenco as we know it today, with people performing for money. Just small hints of that. They performed it just for themselves. So they would make some iron, some iron railings or things for horses' hooves, and while they were doing this on the anvil they would sing amongst themselves. You've got to realise there was no guitar in this sense at this time, only the singing, and later the guitar would come and then the dance. And by the 19th century the people, they lived in Cadiz, they'd moved to Sevilla, and there in small bars started the idea of proper flamenco, where the tourists, even from Britain, tourists were coming to Spain in the 19th century. Your Prime Minister, Disraeli, he came over, and so they realised people would pay a small amount of money to go into a club, have a drink, a little tapa, and watch these people perform.
So how is it you yourself actually got into flamenco? I mean, with the development with Spain, and how did you get into it and start playing guitar like that, and how would you...
Yeah, it's a very complex thing, because flamenco is a very specialised thing. What happened was, when I was about 10, I started playing the guitar. Like most people, I was very interested to copy the Beatles and things like that. But my mother sent me for formal training in flamenco to learn, all this kind of stuff. And I started, and by the time I was about 12 or 13, I started playing professionally, mainly accompanying the dancers, because in England everybody's only interested in the dance, They don't mind the guitar, but they tend to not like the singing. In Spain it's the exact opposite. The singing is the most important part. One singer can attract a massive crowd, and that's what the people go for. So I started accompanying originally my sister, who was a dancer, and we used to do little shows, and then I started playing for people who were learning to dance. So by the time I was about 14, I was out 3 nights a week just accompanying the people who were learning, and then also Friday and Saturday night playing in bars. And then when I was very young, a few years on from that, I played my first Edinburgh Festival, and I went also to study in Seville with one of the great maestros, Pepe Martinez, of course dead now, but he's one of the all-time greats. So I travelled to Spain under Franco, in the time of Franco, to learn how to play.
Before I ask you a bit about the culture of flamenco and the way of life, who would you say is the biggest influence for you with the type of music and the way it's been? Who would you say that is for you?
Well, for me, obviously, because I grew up with one particular artist, a guy called Camarón. He's the greatest artist in flamenco itself. I'll give you an example. I went on the internet just the other day and I found on a Sun site that somebody's now got a new box set of Camarón, 60 CDs, just one particular thing. So I thought I had everything, but probably not. So this guy influenced me a lot. When I was at university, I used to try and get him played in discos and things like that. And then he became a legend in Spain. In a way, I suppose, kind of for good and for bad, because he became so popular that at his concerts you'd have a situation where there would be trouble, and maybe somebody with a meat cleaver would put it in somebody's head. And so Camarón used to say, I now don't want to do any more concerts because it causes too many troubles, And he was very controversial because people said that he took a lot of drugs. He was involved in a serious accident where people lost their lives, various things like that. But for all these reasons, he's become an icon of all the gypsy people. His funeral in 1992 attracted over 100,000 people, which is an incredible, into a small cemetery. And today he's bigger than ever. They made a kind of a Hollywood biopic film about him. And of course I wrote a book about him. The first book in English, and it's called like In Search of Cameron de la Isla because nobody really knows him, yeah, except for his wife, you know, because he's a man who's of very few words, but an incredible singer.
And what about the way of life and the culture goes with flamenco then? I mean, a lot of people probably wouldn't know what goes with it. They may have seen the dance, may have seen the music, but what actually is behind it?
Well, the flamenco is held mainly in the hands of a very small number of gypsy families. In Jerez, which is in Cádiz province, they're assimilated into the population. In other parts of Spain there's still a lot of racism, yeah? But the culture is very much an intimate culture, so they will perform in public, but they always have their own things just for themselves. I suppose culturally what's interesting about flamenco is that if you want to see proper flamenco, you're never going to see it at 7 o'clock in the evening, you're never going to see it at 10 o'clock in the evening. You really probably have to go at 10, and maybe in a festival at 3 o'clock in the morning or 4 you will see the great artists. There's a lot of expressions about flamenco. They say lo flamenco, because flamenco is the name of the people, you know. Lo flamenco no comen, solo beben. In other words, they don't eat, they only drink. But this is all rubbish, you know, but these are some of the myths. There is a culture of quite a lot of drinking around flamenco, you know, because obviously the flamenco people, because they're based in southern Spain, sherry is connected with flamenco. Another thing that's connected with flamenco is, of course, what English people call bullfighting. Because these are all connected. Some gypsy people become guitarists, other people try to become a torero, a bullfighter, you know. And so flamenco and bulls is very, very highly connected. Cameron, who we were talking about earlier, he was obsessed with becoming a bullfighter. Yeah, I mean, on the cover of this book is a little picture of him fighting a young cow. Yeah, but he never was able to do this. But he worshipped flamenco. In the same way as a lot of the great bullfighters are obsessed. They all want to be flamenco singers. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. If you wouldn't mind just playing us a little bit.
Yeah.
Just to show us what it's really about.
So should we have some bulerías, something fast?
Hold on, maybe I'll come and I'll film like.
Do you want to do another one?
Yeah.
That was really